Afghanistan.
It's time to bring our people back home.
Do you think US and UK lost that war in Afghanistan? We left Afghanistan and the Taliban took back over.
To explain what happened in August of 2021 when we withdrew from Afghanistan, one needs to understand what took place in the second half of 2001, immediately after 9/11. Now, however wars might end, they generally end on the basis of there being an inclusive settlement. Well, what of course happened as a consequence of what I've described is that at the Bonn Conference in December 2021, when the UN pulled the stakeholders together to lay out what the future of Afghanistan might look like, they didn't include the tribes who were part of the Taliban movement. And the upshot of all of that was that we effectively created the conditions for the Taliban insurgency to start.
Imran Khan told me one thing when I used to speak to him regularly, that rather than having war in situations, it's best to go and talk to people and mediate.
I've always taken the approach, circumstances like the one we found in Afghanistan, that you're more likely to prevail if you work on the assumption of trying to connect people to governance. This is not about defeating or killing or destroying an enemy. It's actually about making sure the population feel that they're adequately represented by governance.
Do you think Israel is committing war crimes?
I'm afraid your audience is going to have to watch and wait as cases are made in international criminal courts to define where and in what way, if there have been laws have been broken. I think the more important question than whether they're committing war crimes, which I'm not qualified to comment on, is whether or not the strategy that they are pursuing is going to lead to longer term peace in the region. And that would be the one that would bother me. The rapid changes that we see with technology and with information are changing the character of politics and the character of warfare. And what we see in Ukraine, and we've seen to a degree in operations in Israel has been conducted, is that pace of that technological change has a bearing on the way in which that technology is applied on battlefields. Now, what is perhaps more significant about that than just the drone is the software associated with this. In order for you to prevail in these conditions, you don't just need to find the target, you need to whack it. The trick is how quickly you can whack it, and that comes down to software. And the reality, of course, therefore, is that if it's about software, it's often going to be about artificial intelligence. And that is the big change, I think, on the modern battlefield. Yes, we see drones and therefore what we call autonomy. The reality actually is it's the software that makes them work that is the real change here. And how artificial intelligence plays into all of that is a very significant force multiplier. And I also strongly believe that we shouldn't bring religion into politics.
I totally agree
The
with
two
that.
must be separated. So I think
Exactly.
the way you cast the question, I'm afraid, slightly implies there's an overlap between religion and politics, and I think that's very sad. Fine. Well, as part of this process, I hope, of education, let's try and keep religion out of politics.
Yeah, I totally
and vice
agree.
versa.
Is a product of the West. That's what a lot of the Muslim world think, that ISIS was created by the West.
Possibly. The answer is I don't know. I think that certainly one of the great problems of our world today, there is a huge disconnection for many people. Either because they don't have economic opportunity or they don't have educational opportunity, or simply because they feel that they're not valued or they don't have the same resources that richer countries have. And the fact of the matter is that this disparity in opportunity and resources is a destabilising factor. And I think that is a rather more sophisticated way of thinking about it.